Cruz.
I'm Kurt Williams in for Barbara Sierra, and we want to get right to breaking news out of Newport News, where police are on scene at Richneck Elementary School. Police tell us a teacher was shot and has been taken to the hospital. No word on the extent of her injuries.
Our police tell us that fortunately no students were injured in this incident. Police Chief Steve Drew from the Newport News Police Department says a suspect is in custody but would not release any details about that suspect.
Welcome to a new episode of True Crime 757, and today we're talking about a shooting that shook the country back on January 6, 2023. The day Abby Zwerner was shot by her 6-year-old student in her Richneck Elementary classroom. Nearly 3 years later, Zwerner is set to have her day in court. Margot and I are joined by defense attorney Eric Korslund, who will share how this could all play out in front of a jury. So can you guys tell us what happened to the child and his mother?
Yeah, I mean, that was really interesting that the 6-year-old did not, a lot of people thought he could or could not get charged, but the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office decided not to do that in Newport News. Eric, why do you think that was?
I'm just going to go by my own intuition. If I was in that position, I probably wouldn't have charged him either. The short answer is he just doesn't possess the requisite criminal intent, or what we call mens rea. So every crime has two parts. It has a mens rea, which is the mental element, and then, of course, the actus reus. And so, for example, if I bump into you, that's not a crime. However, if I were to intentionally shoulder check you or something to that regard, that would be a crime. That would be assaultive. And in this particular situation, I just think the fact that he's 6 years old, he doesn't possess the requisite mens rea. And the law recognizes that in all different forms. You have to be 18 to vote, 21 to drink, et cetera, et cetera. Even in sex cases, it's impossible for somebody under the age of 13 to consent, or in other words, somebody couldn't use that as a defense. So the law recognizes, young children that just don't have the capability of making these decisions. Practically, it just doesn't seem fair either. If you could visualize a 6-year-old child in handcuffs or being incarcerated, there's just something wrong with it. And then when you think what his mother, Deja Taylor, was charged with and pled guilty to, child abuse and child neglect. So by her very charge, the law is saying the 6-year-old should not be around a gun. So how can you have that rationale and then at the same time prosecute the 6-year-old for using the gun? So I think it was the correct decision not to criminally prosecute the 6-year-old. That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be other public safety measurements involved. I'm not saying that we should ignore it and not do anything about it. That's the number one concern, is public safety. But for a 6-year-old to be punished with a criminal offense that could cause him to be incarcerated and it could be on his record for the rest of his life, I just don't think that's fair, even under these circumstances.
So it's like the criminal intent of what he was doing. That's what they're looking at, you think, when they made that
I think so. If I was his attorney, I would want to argue, does he really know the difference between a play gun or playing Fortnite or getting a gun out of his mom's purse? Does he really know what he's doing in that regard? That may upset a lot of people because to the victim, to Abigail Zwerner, the bullet's just the same. I mean, the consequence is just the same. But I do think as a civilized society, we have to take into account the mental element and the mental stability and the age of defendants.
And then the mother, though, she's currently, it was a total between the two of almost 4 years. 2 years for the child neglect and then 21 months for the federal charges.
Yeah.
And this was really interesting, too, when it came down, because she had purchased the gun, and then when you fill out the paperwork when you're buying the gun, and she checked no, like, do you use substance or controlled substance? And that then got her in hot water when all this happened. Can you explain that part of those kind of federal documents?
Sure. Usually I see these kind of charges, or underneath the same statute, is where somebody says, I've never been convicted of a felony. And it turns out after the state police reviews it and investigates it, lo and behold, they were convicted of a felony when they were a juvenile. And I've had some clients that I believe truly were mistaken, that it was expunged or they forgot about it or something along those lines. It's pretty rare that you see this particular charge with somebody found to have been using narcotics or drugs and said that they weren't when they filled out the form. for me, in my opinion, I just think a lot of people use marijuana. To think that everybody that answered that question no, that they don't use marijuana is just a fallacy. It's just not true. So that in of itself doesn't bother me. I don't have a problem. I don't think somebody should be deprived of their Second Amendment right because they smoke marijuana. That's just my own personal opinion. But in this case, I think there was an interest in law enforcement to, for lack of a better expression, go after the mom. I mean, she was the guilty one, I think, in the U.S. Attorney's mind and also in the state's mind, where if she did not keep her gun in her purse where a 6-year-old could get it, this would not have happened. And I agree with that rationale. I really do. I think there should be more pressure on the parents of a 6-year-old child than the actual 6-year-old child. And that's what's going to, I think, have more of an impact in preventing, tragic situations like this. I think, in my opinion, and from what I know about the case, I do think the mother was appropriately handled. I do think she should go to jail. I don't think it should be for an excessive amount of time, but I do think she was reckless with the gun. Her lying on the form, as they say, that just doesn't seem as significant to me as what's really going on in this case. Interestingly, it does have some similarities with the Hunter Biden case because that's what he was prosecuted for, and that's what ultimately he was pardoned by his dad for. But in that case, they were able to present credible evidence that he was using crack cocaine almost on a daily basis when he was applying for a gun. I do think there's a difference between that and somebody who may recreationally smoke marijuana.
I had heard from some attorneys who were kind of shocked when they saw that a Taylor had been charged with that. I mean, they were like, they're trying to find anything to get her,
I agree.
Really think that it was just, we got to get her.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations like, I'm not trying to compare her to Al Capone, but he ultimately did his time for tax evasion, and we all know that wasn't the interest of the government, is to get him for tax evasion. It was for all his mob activity. So I think there may be some similarities here where on its face, just smoking marijuana and trying to get a gun, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not afraid to say that. But I do think there was some connection between that and the shooting, and so that's why she was federally prosecuted.
Your world changed in seconds, not by choice. But now you get to choose who fights for you. At Korslund Law, we don't just handle cases like the other firms. We go to war to get our clients paid for their injuries. Personal injury, real people, real stakes. Let us carry the weight. Free consultation, fierce representation. Korslund Law, because this fight is personal.
She got pulled over in Williamsburg in 2021, so the 6-year-old was 4 at the time. He was in the car, smelled of weed. They found Rice Krispie treat edibles next to him, and and that was all only came out after all this shooting stuff. Do you think that contributed to the charges that she then later faced?
I think so. I would think that shows a pattern or an overlap of overview of her parenting. She's just very reckless in that regard, as opposed to an isolated incident when you have kids. They're going to find trouble. They're going to burn their hand on the stove. They're going to fall down. They're going to get stuff they're not supposed to. They're going to stick stuff in a light socket. And you can be very, very careful, and accidents will still happen. In this situation, I don't think that applies. Leaving a gun where a 6-year-old can get it, I think there should be strict liability. But I do think, to answer your question, her past behavior with marijuana, being around the child, it just shows a level of recklessness.
And then we know, after the shooting, that they went to the house, they searched everything, they found more drugs, and then went through her phone and started texting about it. So do you think it was just a combination of all these?
I do. And speaking of that, she told authorities that she kept the gun in a locked safe, and they searched the house up and down and could not find anything to support that. So there may have been some indication that she was lying to the authorities when they were investigating this case as well. And it also begs the question, how often was this child around this gun? If she frequently carried it in her purse and she's around the child and she's not watching him 24/7, this could have happened many different ways, time in and time again. So I think the point is, this wasn't just some isolated incident where I came back from the gun range and I went to use the restroom and my child got their hands on the gun, or they found the key to the safe or something along those lines. I think it was a level of recklessness. And I'll also add to that is there's always an element of foreseeability. If you can foresee something happening, then you need to take measures to stop it.
And then they went after the school people.
Yeah, the assistant principal is, to change gears here a little bit. I think Ebony Parker, who's about to go in front of a jury in Newport News for 8 counts of child abuse and child neglect. And my understanding of that is there was 8 bullets, 8 live rounds, and each count, each indictment is for a particular bullet that's there. And the victims in this indictment could be any of the other kids that were in Richneck, and there was 550 students there at this time. So she's basically charged with putting 8 of any of these number of kids into harm by being neglectful and not responding to these complaints. And I think we're going to see more and more cases like this where authorities are going to dig deeper and deeper to find out who's culpable and who's responsible for these shootings, as opposed to just looking at, the shooter and the person who did the shooting, or for political reasons where they purchased the gun and things of that nature. And I think it's healthy to do that. I think people should take a deep dive and look into these cases to try to avoid this happening in the future.
So for Zwerner's team to win this $40 million suit, what do you think they'll have to prove to the jury?
I think it's going to have to be a level of neglect and recklessness that is almost shocking to the jury. Like, why didn't she do anything? How many red flags do you want to see until you actually do something? And from my understanding of the case, and the facts will play themselves out in court, is she was warned plenty of times that this could happen, and she didn't do anything. So I think if Diane Toscano and her team of lawyers, she's got an excellent team of lawyers. I know Diane personally. She's a wonderful human being, wonderful lawyer, mother of 5. And I know she takes this case very seriously. So I think, Abigail is in very, very good hands legally. I know there's about 60 witnesses on each side, so it's going to be highly contested. Very, very interesting to follow. But what does a jury need in order to award this very, very large sum of money that they're looking for? I think they're going to need something that kind of shocks the conscience, and this very well may be the case. I didn't realize how many warnings were out there, and I think, to be a Monday morning quarterback, we're just ignored. And I think when the jury hears this, and that this could have been any one of these kids, their kids that were shot, I mean, she's going to be tried, or I shouldn't say tried, but the case is going to be local. People are going to know about the case, and I think people are fed up with gun violence. We've seen this, I believe, in Minnesota, or maybe it's Michigan, where the parents were charged and prosecuted with involuntary manslaughter after their son did a school shooting. I think people are finding that you have a duty as parent and teachers and administrators to keep people safe. People drop their kids off at school wanting them to be safe and come home safe. And you just can't ignore these kind of red flags.
If people went to her and said, the child has the gun, in my mind, I think like the school's put on lockdown automatically. I mean, I don't know exactly what unfolded, but it just seems weird that people would say they had this warning and that's what they're now charging her with. Like, they told her, but what happened? Why didn't you?
Yeah, I agree 100%, Margaret. I really do. In fact, I believe it was shortly before the shooting that it was reported that somebody saw the student with a gun showing it off to other students. And if that was made known to the administration before the shooting, that's a serious problem. Why not just do a lockdown, immediately take it that serious? So, I think there's a difference between how we started this conversation of what should happen to this young man as opposed to what do we do for public safety. I think those are 2 different conversations. And I think in this case, it looks as if nothing was done. It was just ignored. And you just can't do that.
3 different times. 3 times. School administration was warned by concerned teachers and employees that the boy had a gun on him at the school. and was threatening people. But the administration could not be bothered. This tragedy was entirely preventable if the school administrators responsible for school safety had done their part and taken action when they had knowledge of imminent danger. But instead, they failed to act and Abby was shot.
How would the defense defend Ebony Parker in this case? Like, I think I read somewhere that one of the allegations in the complaint is that Ebony Parker somebody said that the child had a gun in the pocket. And she was like, oh no, his pocket's too small. Like, that makes no sense. Would that hold up to a jury, do you think? Like, how much wiggle room does she have there?
The way I would want to defend her, and I would need these facts, is to show that she did something, that she did react to it. You know, so for example, I'm sure the school has some sort of security system. I don't know. I would like to think they have security there. But what if this was brought to her attention and she immediately contacted security and they didn't do anything? And so then in the defense of Miss Parker, I could argue that she did do something and she did exercise some sort of prudence and reacted to this. And then you also have to analyze what messages, did she receive? Was it made known to her that he has an actual gun at school? Or was it something like he's pretending to have a gun? Or I think you really have to take a closer look at what information was presented to her. I find it hard to believe that nobody would do anything under these circumstances. But there again, that's why you have the lawsuit. But yeah, my defense of her would hopefully ideally be that she did react to it. And hopefully, not to sound like a defense attorney, but cast the blame on somebody else.
So then after this civil trial wraps up, then she goes right into the criminal one. Do you think the outcome of the civil suit will likely be the same one as the criminal one, or do you see those going different ways?
I think those are completely different things. And one case I would offer to illustrate that is O.J. Simpson. I think we all believe he's as guilty as sin, or at least I do. And he was found not guilty because it has to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the highest legal burden there is, as opposed to a civil case where it just has to be by a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not. So it's a much, much lower burden. And the reason that is you're not dealing with depriving somebody of their liberty. It's just money as opposed to freedom. And of course, O.J. Simpson was found liable and wrongful death, in that situation. So in this case, I don't think it would play any role in it. And I see this stuff all the time. You'll see civil suits and lawsuits, and then you'll see criminal charges. A lot of times even CPS will get involved in cases, and they may make a finding that there was child abuse or something like that, but that doesn't mean it plays no role in the criminal case whatsoever. So I think in the criminal case, as opposed as in the civil case, nothing in the media should be put out there. The only evidence that should be considered is the evidence that's produced in the courtroom. So it really shouldn't have any impact on this. But that is a possibility that somebody could be found not guilty of the criminal charges, but still, liable of a civil offense. And another way of looking at it is wrongful death cases. And that could be by somebody being shot by accident. It could be a car accident. Just because you're responsible for killing somebody, that doesn't mean that you're criminally liable for that. There has to be a level of recklessness where you have a disregard for human life, or it would have to be intentional.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is.
And I know you had mentioned potential immunity. Can you kind of explain how that would work?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know all the details, but I know, for example, like a police officer who may hurt somebody or even kill somebody, but if they're doing it in their line of duty and they're doing it in their scope of employment, they're not liable for that. If it's outside that, then certainly they are. We're all subject to the laws. Well, school officials may fall in that same category, or really any government worker. So she may be protected, or the school may be protected by some sort of immunity. I do think there's always exceptions. So even if they do have immunity, it may not be enough to protect them from something that's this bad. It could protect them from something that was an accident. For example, the same facts in this case, but the 6-year-old boy never got in trouble. Nobody had any idea he had a gun or that he was going to bring a gun. Then she may be protected by some sort of immunity. But where the facts are this egregious and it was basically made known to her and she didn't do anything, I don't know if she'll be protected by that.
We think a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this, just given how much national attention there was. In your expert opinion, is there anything you think people should be aware of, like as they follow along?
I looked into this a little bit, and it is really interesting for me as well. One of the things, which I thought was some good news, is it's very rare. It's extremely rare that a shooting occurs with somebody this young. And I think that's good news, and that's something that we should celebrate and be thankful for. What's interesting to me is the change that people are fed up with gun violence. They're fed up with seeing this stuff in the news, churches being shot, schools being shot. It gets politicized. But at the end of the day, regardless of your political beliefs and personal beliefs, I think everybody agrees on how do we prevent this? How do we stop this from happening? And I think going a little bit deeper and making people accountable as opposed to just the shooter or as opposed to just the guns, I think is a correct thing to do. And I think this case illustrates that on some level, that we all have to be careful. We just can't say, oh, that guy's a horrible person, he's a maniac, and he's a psycho. It's unfortunate, but we have to figure out how do we protect ourselves and live with this. And public safety concern, really. Really scary. School shootings are just naturally alarming and disturbing. I've represented Philip Bay about 10, 15 years ago when he was supposed to shoot up Lansdowne High School, and that made a lot of national attention. He was going to do it on Columbine's 10-year anniversary. And it's shocking to think students in a school are being shot. But then when you think of 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds in an elementary school and a 6-year-old shooting his teacher, it's shocking. It really is shocking. So I say one thing from this that's positive is it's very rare. This is very rare.
And definitely put Newport News on the map.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how this turns out, how the civil case turns out. Who knows where the cards may land? It's like a lot of other cases that we see on the news. And then how the criminal case is going to turn out for Ebony Parker. Because I could see a lot of different schools of thought with that. It'd be really interesting to see how that turns out. I would love to talk to the jurors after that, regardless of the verdict. Perhaps get one of them here.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, to find out what they talk about when they deliberate. And I think there's not going to be a lot of factual dispute, or I don't anticipate a lot of factual dispute, like a whodunit kind of case. But it's just going to be, should we hold this woman responsible for the acts of a 6-year-old? I see both sides of the argument.
Well, thank you so much